Thanks for clicking on this video. I'm going to teach you how to pinpoint and attract deer to your area. This works on small and large parcels, and mainly I'm setting up mock scrapes, so I'll show you how it works, and I have a bunch of photos from my mock scrapes to prove that it works. So I'll start off showing you what I use. I got a stick right here. I like to use a vine because it lasts longer, and you can leave it out there for several seasons, and every deer that hits that just leaves more scent on it, so it's that much better for the next one. So I'll show you the vine right here. So you want one that's roughly 5 feet. This one's a little bit shorter than it should be, but I also like the ones that curve personally, because it allows it, I think it covers more of the trail, because you want it right over the trail and you can't always get it perfect. So I like a little bit of curve where it'll cover more of the trail, and I think it looks more natural than a perfectly straight one. And a lot of people use like a tree branch, but those don't really last more than one season. But a vine like this, if you tie a good knot like that, it'll last a long time. So I'll show you how to set it up, and then I'll run through how it works. And generally what you want to do is you set it up right in the middle of a trail, so every deer that walks through will kind of hit its head on it. And you want to set these up in like July. I'm setting it up a little late, but I'll show you how it works. So what I do is, there's a lot of ways to do it, but I just grab the one end, and then I pick the tree, and I've got it right here that I want to throw it over. It might take me a couple throws. Okay, good. Oh, where did it? There we go. Okay, so you can see I've got it right here, and you want it to be about waist high, because you want every fawn that comes through to be able to hit it as well. And like here, in order to get on the thicker area, it has to come to the side, which is good because now it curves, so it's still able to cover the trail. So now what I do is I like to tie it off somewhere. I'll usually do 2 loops around the tree, but here I'm just going to do 1, just because of the way this sets up. So I'm going to come over here, get it to the height I want it. Probably right about there is good. And I'm just going to take this. But one sec. I'm going to take this. I'm going to cut it with my knife. The height I want is right there. So okay, so now I've got that cut. Just tie this off over here, right about that height. I'm just going to do a simple square knot. It's easy. It's not coming undone. There's not a ton of pressure. And you want plenty of rope. I'll show you a better angle, but you want plenty of rope because you kind of want it to swing around when the deer hit it. Because one, when you're hunting, you always want to have a stand on a scrape, because it doesn't do you any good to have scrapes where you're not hunting. So you really want to have a long rope so the deer kind of has to spend more time there, and also it just swings, and I think they prefer it. And remember, you always want to think about your stand setup before you set up the scrape. And if you find natural scrapes in the general area, like within a little ways, you might want to think about cutting it down so this is the only one they'll hit, so during the rut you can really get on them. So I'll show you right here what it looks like. So you basically have this vine, and it's got about 6 feet of rope attached to this vine, and you can see the deer trail right here. I'm right next to a golf course, so we'll see how many deer come through, but the curve it will help it stay that way. So yeah, that's really all it is. And I'll show you some pictures here, and all deer will use it. Does, like right here, and fawns will use it as well, and so will mature bucks, and I have some big bucks. And it's kind of a myth. A lot of people think that mature bucks are the only ones that use scrapes, and that's just not true. All deer use scrapes, and and you want it kind of low because you want every fawn that can come along to touch that, because the more scent there is, the more it will be used, and the more it's used, the more effective it is, and it's exponential to a certain point. So I guess it's not really exponential. So they're very effective at pinpointing deer. They're very good at bringing them in. Right now I have 3 or 4 set up, and I had deer on all of them, using them within the first 3 days, and I had a big buck using it in the first. Actually, it might have been the first deer to hit it I had was a good buck, and then some does came along. So this works really well. And the next thing you want to do is, now that you've set it up, if you've ever seen a scrape, you know, I'm going to set this trail camera on it, but if you've ever seen a scrape, you know that below it, all the dirt's kind of kicked up. And I don't have a rake with me, so I'm going to use my foot. But you basically want to tear up some of the ground. And luckily, I don't have to do a ton, because here in North Carolina, the scrapes aren't that big. But if you're somewhere in the Midwest or something, you might want to scrape up a pretty big area, because they a lot of times use a lot of deer will use it just because there's so many deer in such small areas. But here in North Carolina, I would consider finding that like a big scrape. So I'm happy with that. And it's slightly off the middle, so I'm gonna actually tie it off a little differently, but that's not important. So I'm just gonna show you some of the photos right here. And you can also, and I do this sometimes, usually I do, you can also pee on it, because after a pretty short period of time, pee, like the actual scent dissolves, and it basically, all pee will end up smelling the same, deer and stuff. And I've done it, and deer have shown up in the first like 2 or 3 days. So it can't hurt, is what I'm saying. I don't know if it necessarily helps. I believe it does, but I don't know if it will. So anyway, if you don't really know how it works, I apologize for not explaining this earlier. The deer will generally lick a little bit, like they'll kind of put their tongue out and stuff right here. You'll see a picture of it. And then during the rut especially, but they'll kind of paw at it like this, and their glands and stuff will get all over it. And this is a way for deer to signpost. So basically during the rut, deer might use it, but they use it all year. But during the rut, you know, a doe will come through maybe an estrus, and she'll leave her scent there, and bucks will be constantly checking those. So it's a great spot, especially during the daylight, to find them. So I'm just gonna fix this up. Guys, I also want to really emphasize how important it is to have a stand on every scrape, because it doesn't do you any good to have a scrape where all these deer are using it if you're not going to hunt it. So you can see I've twisted the rope around it up there to bring it more out into the middle, and this is right in the middle, perfect. And you really don't want a bunch of stuff right in the area that they'll be scraping. It's okay to have some ferns, but you don't want stuff like this. But this is kind of one of the only areas that I could use it, because there's not even much limb holding it there. But hopefully this works. You got a little trail coming here, another trail going that way. This should be good. I'll pick it up in about a week and show you guys some photos. Hey guys, so I put this mock scrape out, and 3 days later I had deer hitting it. First was like a buck. I can't tell because it's too early, but here it is. Just a stick scrape. You can already see I had it cleared out, but you can see where they've already started pawing, so it should be pretty good. I was gonna grab the SD card and put it in a different camera, but because it had only been there for 2 weeks and about 5 deer hit the scrape, and that scrape had only existed for 2 weeks, I'm excited to see, because it should theoretically for a while get exponentially better, and then in the end it'll flatten out. But you know, hopefully it should be good. I hope this has been very helpful to you guys. I'm going to try to bring out some fun videos, you know, fishing and hunting, but I'm also going to bring out some helpful ones for tactics and just how I like to hunt and stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. If you're still watching, you must have enjoyed it. So make sure you hit like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate all the support I've been getting, and I'm really looking forward to 1,000 subscribers. I know that's still a pretty good ways off, but with your guys' help, I can get there.